Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Anti-aging supplements, the good, the bad, and what to avoid. That's what we're talking about today. Welcome to Accelerated Health with Sara Banta, where I cut through the noise and fast track your journey to better health. I'm your host, Sara Banta, a CEO and founder of Accelerated Health Products and certified by the National Association of Nutritional Professionals. I'm here to share the latest on supplements, wellness hacks, what works, what doesn't, and natural health solutions, from boosting your energy to detoxing the right way to balancing hormones and everything in between. I will help you reach your optimal health. So let's dive in about anti-aging. That is what so many of you are focused on. And you want to maintain your strength, your energy, and clarity. And in a day where most people are suffering from chronic disease and they can't even put one foot in front of the other, then others of us are trying to anti-age and get that youthfulness back. Remember when you were 20 and you took for granted that you had no joint pain and your hair wasn't falling out and you had no wrinkles, maybe you had a zit or two, but it wasn't about trying to stay alive longer, and it wasn't about having that energy and doing life without pain. So this is the problem. So many so-called anti-aging products do more harm than good. Some disrupt your mitochondria, stress your detox pathways, or interfere with hormonal balance. And it's all about our mitochondria. We are only as healthy as our mitochondria. When our mitochondria die, we die, right? So that is what we want to focus on. And some supplements, and this goes along across all supplements, not just anti-aging, could actually be doing more harm than good. The supplement market has 95% of the stuff out there is junk. It's full of fillers, full of toxic ingredients that are not on the label. They're fairy dusted with a few little sprinkles of the ingredient that you're after, and they just put that in there so that they can put it on the label. Then you've got mold and bacteria counts that are high that can cause inflammation and backfire. So in general, you've got to be careful. That supplement market is full of formulas that are made with poor ingredients. And it's just like the food market. You know, you go to the market and you get this organic ketogenic protein bar and don't realize that it's full of a fat that is not digested and completely disrupts your gut, causes bloat, constipation, all the things. And you're thinking, well, it's only got 150 calories and it's got 30 grams of protein. This is supposed to be good for me. No, you got to be careful with the food system and also with the supplement industry. So assuming that we are talking about supplements that are clean and that don't have these other things that you have to worry about, let's dive into the ones that are hot and trending and that you might be wasting your money on. Number one, NAD precursors, and this is NMN and NR. They're marketed as shortcuts to raise the NAD levels and increase your energy. But unless your mitochondria are functioning properly, which a lot of us aren't, forcing extra NAD into the system can fuel damaged cells, including cancerous ones. It's like pouring gas into an engine with a broken wiring. It might rev up briefly and then it can spark a bigger problem. NAD is vital. Yes, we need it, but its production must come from a foundation of healthy mitochondria and not bypass it. And you want your own body to work with what you're giving it to make its own NAD. So even though these NAD precursors may seem like a promising tool, for that longevity, research suggests that you might want to be a little more wary. So number one, it could possibly cause cancer to grow. One of the most serious concerns is the potential to accelerate the growth of existing cancer cells. Because NAD is vital, for all cellular functions, including unhealthy or mutated cells. Boosting NAD indiscriminately may give fuel to these cancer cells, allowing them to grow faster and evade that wonderful thing called apoptosis, which is programmed cell death that prevents abnormal cells or cancer cells to proliferate. So you're actually causing an increase in the growth of these cancer cells, the good cells and the bad cells. And some animal studies suggest that enhancing NAD pathways can upregulate the pathways that tumors use to maintain their energy supply and resist that treatment. The enzyme NAMPT, which supports NAD synthesis, is often overexpressed in many cancer types, and it increases NAD availability, and that may contribute to tumor survival. So another thing, it overstimulates that cell growth, while the NAD supports tissue regeneration. That's why people take it. Artificially elevating it through the supplement can overstimulate cell proliferation, and this can pose a risk for those with pre-existing tumors, undiagnosed cancers, even pre-cancerous conditions. Then also liver strain. So our livers are taxed. We've got the fluoride in the water, the microplastics, the heavy metals, the air pollution, all the things, the processed foods. Our livers are like, okay, I can't do anymore, right? Well, even when you throw in a supplement that's supposed to do some good, your liver's got to process it. That's why you really do want to be careful with not just dumping a ton of supplements on you, especially ones that are not clean. High doses of NAD precursors may place more liver stress in your body as it processes this excess nicotinamide. And this could contribute to unwanted liver enzyme elevations and other metabolic imbalances over time. And when your liver enzymes are high, your liver is not working, which is actually accelerating your aging. We got to love on our liver, right? So then you've got the fact that there's unknown long-term safety. We still don't have extensive research on the long-term use of NAD precursors, and we just don't know. So what this brings to attention is it's kind of like throwing hormones into your body, and your liver is stacked, right? It's overwhelmed, and your body and your liver is supposed to process these excess hormones, but it can't. You want your body to heal, to be out of stress, to provide the building blocks for your own body to internally create and produce those hormones. That is the best case scenario. So we want to give our body and our mitochondria the fuel to make its own NAD instead of overwhelming it with excessive amounts. Now, it goes along with a lot of these other supplements I'm going to mention. Oral glutathione. Now, this is an interesting one because it is the master antioxidant, and it's so good for your liver, right? But unfortunately, oral glutathione is very hard to absorb, and you get very little benefit for taking it for a long time, and it's short-lived. And flooding yourself with an IV is not good either. The problem with glutathione is it has a lot of sulfur in it. It's a sulfur-based oxidant. Now, this used to not be a problem, but because of glyphosate, because of other toxins in our environment, our sulfur detox pathways have been hijacked. So we're not able to process this glutathione. So any hormone, any ingredient, any antioxidant that your body's not able to assimilate or process does you no good and only puts more stress on the body. And that cell stress is going to cause a stress response, right? That cell danger response, whether it's coming from the flu or from a financial stressor or from, any kind of stress. Your body doesn't know the difference between an emotional stress, a mental stress, a spiritual stress, or a physical stress. So this could be a stressor on your liver. And then that is going to cause this cell danger response. And then what does your body do? It goes into survival mode. It shuts down its thyroid and metabolism. It starts to put on body fat. It loses the hair. It shuts down digestion, causes leaky gut, all of these things. Okay, so glutathione is a sulfur-based supplement. Your body can't process sulfur possibly, so it backs up the liver. That becomes a stressor. So instead of calming down oxidative stress, it can sometimes trigger it along with headaches, fatigue, rashes. And then as the liver cannot process that sulfur properly, the liver backs up even more, leading to insulin resistance, fat and protein malabsorption, systemic toxic accumulation. So you want to support the body's own glutathione production, clear the pathways that block it. The next one, rapamycin. So the pharmaceutical community is increasingly interested in rapamycin and its derivatives, the rapalogs, because they effectively block mTOR, that cellular pathway. The theoretical approach of decreasing mTOR activity could potentially decelerate aging through the suppression of excessive cellular growth. But this might be a little more complicated. The mTOR pathway extends beyond growth regulation because it supports muscle maintenance. So with a lack of mTOR, you're not able to maintain your muscle mass. And we know that muscle is directly correlated to longevity. That's why you want to build that muscle when you're young and you keep it when you're old. Or if you didn't build it when you're young, you have to work extra hard to build it when you're older, because you lose that muscle mass and you will die earlier. So this doesn't make sense. Long-term rapamycin use suppresses mTOR activity, which can cause that body to deteriorate instead of accelerate and flourish. Chronic mTOR suppression makes that muscle loss more likely, while simultaneously weakening your immune system and your recovery rate. So you're not able to recover as quickly. Like I said, you want that muscle, and you got to have that muscle for longevity. So this goes against that theory of increasing longevity because it causes the muscle loss. Older adults face serious issues because maintaining that muscle, the immune function are already difficult to do. So the other problem is the prolonged use of rapamycin raises concern because some people experience fatigue along with blood sugar fluctuations and cognitive decline. Isn't the whole goal to keep our mind sharp and to keep that blood sugar stable? And it is so easy to let that insulin resistance creep up as we get older, regardless of changing our diet or not. You know, that insulin resistance is related to your liver health, cleansing your liver. It's related to your liver's ability to clear glucose, to help convert that T4 to T3, your thyroid hormones, all the things. There's so much that's going on in that liver. And the blood sugar fluctuations really hard on the liver. It's hard on all of your organs. You know, insulin resistance in the liver turns into diabetes. Insulin resistance at the heart becomes heart disease. Insulin resistance in the ovaries, you've got PCOS. Insulin resistance in the brain, Alzheimer's, dementia, cognitive decline. Next is metformin. This was created to manage type 2 diabetes, but a lot of people use off-label as an anti-aging medication due to its impact on blood sugar and cellular stress. Yes, high levels of blood sugar, high A1Cs, high insulin resistance does lead to earlier death and cellular stress, but you want to do it in a more natural way. Using metformin over an extended period of time inhibits the mitochondrial activity. And this is precisely the opposite of what we're trying to do with longevity. Mitochondria are the engines of the cells. We are putting them on idle, stunting energy and repair and resilience when we're taking metformin. And it also changes the gut microbiota in a way that could negatively affect the immunity and your digestion. And the other thing it can do, it can reduce vitamin B12, which is so important for red blood cell production, cognitive function. And without it, it leads to tiredness, mental fog, mood swings. I used to not take a B12 supplement and I was tired. As soon as I introduced it, and now you have to get the right form for sure. Make sure you do that. It boosts your energy. Your cells need so many things, so many nutrients, right? But some of these medications deplete your nutrients, can cause leaky gut and backfire. And the other thing is metformin may decrease the blood sugar levels or mimic calorie restriction, but it does it in a way that does not produce longevity. And the other thing is that there's studies that show that it can cause muscle loss. Now, people are using berberine instead of metformin, and that does not cause the muscle loss. Next is high dose resveratrol, right? Drink a ton of wine. Why is this interesting? It is a compound that turns on the SIRT1 pathway associated with longevity. It's naturally in red wine. This does not give you license to drink a whole bunch of red wine. It's in grapes and certain berries. And when you consume it in small quantities from whole foods, it can have those health benefits. But when taken in a high dose supplement form, it can start to act differently. Once again, throwing stuff into your body that's unnatural is going to cause your body to react in an unnatural way. Right? Our bodies are smart. They know what's going on. They know how to survive. They will have an adaptive response to what you're throwing in. And believe me, I used to be someone that would throw a ton of supplements, handfuls at a time, going, this is so good for me. And my body didn't like it. Sometimes less is more, especially if you're taking stuff with the wrong fillers and toxins in it. But when you take it with high doses, it can start to act differently, and it can disrupt the endocrine function by mimicking estrogen, altering hormonal balance. It can also act as a pro-oxidant instead of an antioxidant, and this can contribute to cellular decline instead of protecting your cellular function. So you want to make sure you're not taking too much. It's kind of like Goldilocks, not too much, not too little. And where is it coming from and in what form? Human growth hormone. This is super popular. And, you go to the gym, you see all these 60-year-old men all pumped up, but then they'll admit they're on steroids, human growth hormone, peptides, all the things. And then their health just kind of falls off a cliff because it backfires. HGH is frequently sold as that miracle treatment for anti-aging. And it claims to help muscle growth, fat reduction, along with energy levels and better skin. But when you use synthetic methods, it can have serious side effects. They fail to trigger natural growth. And then also the control mechanisms of that natural growth are out of whack. And that will lead to excessive growth patterns of things that you don't want. And that may put other systems out of balance. Remember, your body's smart. It's going to adjust. If you're leaning to the right, your body's going to do something to help you not fall over and lean you back to the left. Same thing. So human growth hormone can also create insulin resistance, which leads to that increased blood sugar disorders, including diabetes. And the prolonged use can lead to internal organ enlargement. And that adds, of course, undue stress to the body and may result in long-term effects. So this can create also excessive growth signals, which can reactivate dormant abnormal cells that lead to higher cancer risk, just like some of the other ones that we have talked about. So you are just kind of dumping something into your body, telling everything to grow, the good, the bad, and the ugly. That's not what we want. That is bypassing your natural cell response. The body is adaptable. The body is going to adapt to what you're giving it if you're giving too much of it. And that goes along with high doses of synthetic antioxidants, vitamin C, E. So taking more is not always best. And especially with vitamin C. Did you know high dose vitamin C is full of oxalates? Not good. Oxalates are horrible for your thyroid, your joints, your brain, your gut, all the things. And we need these antioxidants, but they interact with the stress response of your body. And some oxidative stress serves as a stimulant to repair mechanisms in the body. It's kind of like when you exercise. When you exercise, that is a hormetic stressor. That is stressing your body in a good way to say, okay, we're going to tear down these muscles, get them more resilient and strong, and we're going to repair afterwards. But too much of a good thing, flooding the body with synthetic antioxidants outside of your diet of whole foods, can end up suppressing that adaptive response. And so instead of improving the body becomes dependent on high doses of supplementation, leading to other types of stress or damage. And you know what? It's funny is I actually had a client text me yesterday saying that this IV lab that does IVs of high dosing of vitamin C gets it from GMO corn. Guys, where are your supplements coming from? Even if they're healthy for you, where are they coming from? Okay, so what do we do for longevity? Number one, sleep. You can't bypass sleep with a ton of supplements. We've got to sleep. It's your first thing to do. You know, go for a walk at dusk and dawn. That will help with your circadian rhythms. Adjust your eating windows so that they're before the sun goes down. Focus on whole foods, wild animal protein, a diet rich in vegetables and fruits that are not oxalate and not sulfur, things that work for your body, move your body, exercise, lift heavy weights. That's what's going to build the muscle for longevity. All these things support your body with enough protein. You can focus on that wild animal protein. That is the most nutrient dense food on the planet. You can add in accelerated aminos that is going to maintain your muscle, prevent muscle breakdown when you work out, give you more energy in the gym, and support or fill in those gaps when you're not getting that 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. And as we get older, in your 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, you need more protein than your younger version of yourself in your 20s. So that is number one. Okay, now what do we do with supplements? So it comes down to the decline of mitochondrial health or keeping our mitochondria healthy. When your mitochondria die, you die. The mitochondria are the powerhouses of the cells. So by supporting your mitochondria health, you're supporting the anti-aging mechanisms in the body. Now, all of the things we talked about, human growth hormone, mTOR, NAD, we want all of those mechanisms to work properly in our own body and our body to do them. We want these supplements that we're about to talk about to not force artificial changes, but to help restore and nourish your own cellular repair systems to enhance the mitochondrial health, support natural NAD production, protect against the drivers of premature aging without the risks. Number one, acceleradine iodine. The number one cause of mitochondrial failure, iodine deficiency. Over 96% of you are iodine deficient. And iodine's often overlooked in this conversation about aging. It plays a central role in detoxification, metabolism, thyroid health, mitochondria. So your thyroid is the master endocrine gland. It controls your adrenals, your gonads, your brain, everything. You got to have a healthy thyroid. And most people since the pandemic are walking around with suboptimal thyroid function, unexplained weight gain, unexplained brain fog, muscle loss, bloat, constipation, water retention, can't get the rings off your finger, lymphatic drainage is slow, all the things. That is all the cornerstone of all those things is your thyroid. But that's not just it. Okay, so your thyroid hormones are T4 and T3. T4 and T3 stand for tyrosine and 4 and 3 molecules of iodine. You can't have thyroid hormones without iodine. Now, number one, it displaces the toxins, the halogens. So we need to get the toxins out of our cells. Our fat cells hold our toxins for survival. We need to get those toxins out. We need to be able to get the nutrients in. So number one, the iodine displaces halogens like fluoride, bromine, chlorine in our food, in our water, in our air. We're getting all of these toxins and heavy metals and all the things. So that is number one. Those things increase oxidative stress, lower ATP, which is the energy, the cellular energy in the mitochondria. So these toxins, we need to get them out of our body for longevity. Forget the NAD and the human growth hormone. We need to get to the basics. We need to get the toxins out. And the number one way to do that is iodine. When you have your iodine receptor sites open and empty like a parking stall, and because there's no iodine in the body, these toxins just take that little parking spot and they will sit and find their home. When the iodine's in that parking spot, the toxins will bypass that parking spot and say, well, there's no place to park. I'm going to go out of the body. Now, you need iodine for that cell membrane, right? The membrane of the cell is the brain of the cell. It lets the toxins out, nutrients in. It is made up of iodolipids, iodine fat. You need iodine and fat to support that cell membrane. You also need that iodine to increase the ATP inside the mitochondria. You need iodine outside the cell to clean the blood so the liver can do its job. You need those thyroid hormones to stimulate mitochondrial biogenesis, which is the creation of new mitochondria. As you get older, you still can have new mitochondria when you have iodine. But get this, iodine supports NAD production by unblocking mitochondrial activity. With poor mitochondrial health, there's a reduction in the NAD plus to NADH ratio cycling efficiency, leading to that accelerated aging. So we need that iodine. It reduces oxidative stress. It is the number one antioxidant. It protects against radiation and EMF damage, which we know causes cancer and mitochondrial death. We're not getting away from our cell phones, you guys. I carry one, I'm on my computer, but we need to combat it and mitigate its effects. And iodine is also strengthening your immune system. It's antiviral, antibacterial, antiparasitic, anti. Now, all iodines are not the same. Acceleridine iodine is the only iodine that is monoatomic, meaning that it has the ability to be absorbed by all cells in the body. Your body does not have to break it down to use it. But this is the difference too, is the carrier with the iodine is 200 proof organic, non-GMO alcohol. If you have anything less than 200 proof, that means it's diluted, or if it's with a glycerin carrier, that makes it much more difficult to get that iodine, carry that iodine into the cells. So you want to make sure the carrier is a 200 proof organic, non-GMO alcohol. Because if it isn't, then the alcohol could be introducing toxins into your body that the iodine is supposed to kick out. So that doesn't make sense, does it? You're hearing about methylene blue all over, right? And there's a reason. And accelerated methylene blue is the only one I trust. But this is one of the most fascinating tools in cellular medicine. It acts as an electron donor in the mitochondria, which means it helps recycle NAD even when parts of the electron transport chain are damaged. This can be a game changer if you've got chronic fatigue, inflammation, cognitive decline. It bypasses the mitochondrial blockages and restores ATP production. It supports that NAD to NADH cycling under stress. Who's not under stress? It increases the oxygen flow to the brain cells. That's why they're seeing it. Even in Western medicine, they're taking note that it's helping with cognitive decline, Alzheimer's, dementia. I was laughing because my dad only listens to the Western medicine in the men in the white coats. And he sent me an article on methylene blue. That's the one thing he does take. It helps reduce inflammation throughout the body. It protects eyes and nerves from oxidative stress. You can take it anytime in anything. I even put it in my coffee sometimes, but I'll put it in my pre-workout. I put it in my drink before I do a podcast, and it puts my brain on fire. It's also antiviral, antibacterial, has so many benefits. Accelerated methylene blue. We use only John Ellis distilled water, which the way it's structured, it kills viruses on its own away from the methylene blue, just the water. And then we put it through the grander water system that increases its life force, increases the energy of what it's doing. So it's much more effective at the cellular level in your body. Number 3 that has been talked about a lot is C60. And accelerated C60 is the only one I trust. It is the food grade form of the ESS60. It's the only C60 that has been tested on humans. It's one of the most potent and selective antioxidants ever discovered. It targets the most damaging free radicals without interfering with the body's essential signaling molecules, neutralizes hydroxyl and superoxide radicals, protects the mitochondria from oxidative damage, supports collagen and elastin production for your skin and joints. It helps with preserving NAD by reducing the need for excessive DNA repair, helps with tissue repair, enhances recovery from exercise and stress. It also, the number one thing that people report is, gosh, I'm sleeping better. And what did I start this whole thing with? If you're not sleeping, you're going to die early. Sleep is number one. So this is a tool to get you sleeping better. C60 or accelerated C60, there was a study on rats, and there was a group of rats that were given it and a group that wasn't. These rats are prone to having multiple tumors. Now, the control group that took the accelerated C60, not one had a tumor when it died. And they lived 90% longer than the group that had no accelerated C60. And when that group of rats that did not have the supplement, they had multiple tumors when they died. It increased their lifespan by 90%. We're talking about longevity here. Next, accelerated cogniblast. So this is for the brain and metabolic support. It stimulates mitochondrial biogenesis, increases that brain-derived neurotropic factor, which is directly connected to alleviating depression. It supports NAD generation through AMPK activation. And it's not just about mental performance. It's about keeping your body's energy systems working. It increases ATP, and it helps with increased fat oxidation, calms brain inflammation. And when you feel better, whether it's your focus or your mood or maintaining that good brain health long term, you're going to live more vibrantly, which is then going to have cumulative effects on your longevity. Because if I feel good, I'm going to work out better. If I feel good, I'm going to put my brain to the task and do more work and be more stimulated. And then I'm going to live longer. So these supplements that we're talking about are not shortcuts. They're aligning with your body's natural intelligence. They're not overriding it. They're reinforcing it. They're nourishing your mitochondria, protecting your NAD, removing the roadblocks. And we've got to make sure we're focused on our detox, make sure we're focusing on our liver health. You can introduce the accelerated liver care, but these are the things to focus on. And like I said, sleep and your diet, wild animal protein, organic fruits and vegetables, move your body, rebound, focus on lymph, focus on sleep, make sure you're cleansing your body. Those things are number one. So thanks for tuning in to Accelerated Health with Sara Banta today. And I hope you learned something and got some tools for inspiration. You can head to SaraBantaHealth.com for my articles, to find out where my free group coaching is on Telegram. Join. There's no downside. I answer your questions daily, and you're in a like-minded group of people that will support you. And you can shop the supplements we talked about at Accelerated Health Products. If you loved what you heard today, don't forget to subscribe. Leave a review. Share it with someone who needs it. By doing this, you will help this podcast reach more people like you. You can find us by searching Accelerated Health with Sara Banta on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, E360, iHeartRadio, Amazon, over 100 different platforms. And you can use coupon podcast10 to get 10% off site-wide. Remember, I'm live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so join me next time for more ways to unlock your health potential.